Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a question that's, well, frankly, chilling. What actually happens if those long simmering tensions between Iran and Israel finally boil over?
Yeah.
I mean, into open declared war. We're not talking theory here, no academic papers. This is about trying to understand a stark potential reality, a future we obviously hope never happens, but one we really need to grasp.
Exactly. We've spent, a lot of time looking at the history, the geopolitics, the shadow boxing that's gone on for years, proxy fights, cyber stuff, covert actions. We've seen all that. But the big question now is, what if the gloves really come off? What happens when it's direct? No more shadows, just open confrontation. So our mission today is to really unpack that. How would it likely unfold? What's the immediate fallout? And what are the ripples outwards for the region and honestly for the whole world? It's about foresight, not fear. Understanding the stakes.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The first moments, that escalation, it wouldn't be slow, would it? It sounds like it'd be incredibly rapid. You'd have, what, intelligence alerts spiking? Frantic phone calls between capitals.
Absolutely frantic, desperate, last-minute attempts to pull back from the brink. But in this scenario, they fail. The momentum's too strong. And then it happens. The first confirmed strike. That's the point of no return. No more proxies, no more deniability. It's direct, state-on-state.
And the military goals become instantly clear, right? Israel trying to hit nuclear sites, missile launchers.
Precisely. For Israel, it'd be about degrading capability fast.
Yeah.
Hitting those nuclear facilities, some buried deep like Fordo, that takes specialized weapons. And at the same time, trying to take out as many long-range missiles, Shahab 3, Ahmad, those kinds before they can launch. It's a race against time. Because Iran's response, it would be swift and overwhelming. Missile barrages targeting Israeli cities, key infrastructure, immediate punishing retaliation.
And that's when the human catastrophe begins, almost instantly, for just ordinary people. You mentioned missile barrages. So air raid sirens everywhere. Tel Aviv, Tehran, other cities too.
Everywhere. Haifa, Isfahan, you name it. Imagine families running for shelters, that constant, terrifying uncertainty, waiting for the impact, and the information space. Chaos. The internet becomes this engine of fear, disinformation spreading like wildfire, every alert, every rumor amplifying the terror. It's psychological warfare alongside the physical.
Yeah, the human cost. It's not just numbers, is it? It's lives shattered.
Profoundly shattered. We're talking about people caught in an unimaginable hell. Immediate casualties, yes, but also mass displacement, a huge refugee crisis practically overnight. The trauma, living under that constant threat, losing homes, losing loved ones, that scars generations. Society itself starts to fray under that kind of pressure.
And here's a crucial point. You mentioned it earlier. This isn't just Iran versus Israel, is it? That's a sort of bitter twist, number one.
Not at all. The moment those first missiles fly, the whole region could ignite. Iran's allies, the so-called axis of resistance, they likely jump in. We're talking Hezbollah in Lebanon, possibly Hamas again from Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen. Suddenly, Israel isn't fighting on one front.
But multiple fronts, simultaneously. Wow.
Exactly. North, south, maybe even attacks from further out. Think about Hezbollah's arsenal alone. Estimates are over 150,000 rockets. Many precision-guided. That's a scale of attack Israel hasn't faced before.
So Iron Dome.
Yeah.
As good as it is, it could be overwhelmed.
It's incredibly capable, sure, over 90% success against single rockets often. But saturation attacks from multiple directions, different types of missiles, drones, that's the nightmare scenario for any air defense system. It stretches resources to the absolute limit. Commanders face impossible choices. What do you intercept? What gets through? Civilian areas become incredibly vulnerable. It really tests the whole country's resilience.
Okay, let's connect that regionally to the global picture. Because this doesn't stay contained, does it? The economic shockwaves? They'd be almost immediate. You mentioned the Strait of Hormuz.
Hormuz, yes. Critical. A fifth of the world's oil goes through that narrow strait. It instantly becomes a major flashpoint. Think blockades, mines, attacks on tankers.
And oil prices.
Skyrocketing. Easily 30–50% higher, maybe more, almost instantly. A full blockade. We could be looking at a global recession worse than anything recent, maybe even rivaling the Great Depression's impact in some ways. And it's not just fuel. Everything's shipped, everything made with plastics or relying on transport costs explode. Global supply chains just seize up. Shipping lanes become dangerous war zones. It's suddenly not a regional fight anymore. It's a direct threat to global economic stability. Full stop.
And if it escalates further, I mean, if ground troops go in, that feels like another level of brutality altogether.
Oh, absolutely. Ground warfare, especially urban warfare, it's horrific. fighting street to street, building to building, ambush alleys. You've got complex tunnel networks to deal with. We've seen glimpses in Gaza, but imagine that scaled up massively. For hiding, for attacking, plus you'd likely see fierce resistance, partisans fighting in civilian areas, civilians trapped, or worse, used as shields.
So the high-tech warfare collides with this really raw, brutal reality on the ground.
Completely for soldiers, for civilians. The cost is just immense. Every meter gained is paid for in blood, destroyed homes, lasting trauma, the attrition, the psychological toll. Staggering on all sides.
So with all this happening, what's the rest of the world doing? There'd be outrage, condemnation, right? UN meetings.
Oh, immediately. Nonstop emergency sessions at the UN Security Council, calls for ceasefires, de-escalation from, basically everyone.
Yeah.
International condemnation would be swift.
Can they actually stop it? That feels like the agonizing part.
And that's the core difficulty, isn't it? Once a conflict of this scale truly ignites, with this much bad blood and destructive power unleashed, stopping it becomes incredibly hard. Diplomacy failed to prevent it. Now it struggles desperately just to contain the fire. You'll see sanctions, maybe attempts at humanitarian corridors, perhaps some military aid debates. But often, these measures feel like trying to put out a forest fire with a garden hose. The momentum of the war itself is just too powerful. The world watches, largely horrified and struggling to find leverage. Containing is always harder than preventing.
Which brings us to the ultimate nightmare scenario, doesn't it? The risk of this spinning completely out of control, global escalation.
That's the most chilling possibility, yes. Both sides have advanced weapons. The line between conventional and, unconventional conflict could get dangerously thin. Think about a miscalculation. A desperate act. Maybe an attack hits something unexpected, crosses a hidden red line, or a critical asset like a major oil field gets targeted. That's how global powers could get dragged in. The U.S. is allied with Israel, Russia, China. They have their own interests, their own relationships in the region, particularly with Iran.
So it wouldn't necessarily be a deliberate choice to widen the war.
Not necessarily. It could be alliances, proxy dynamics, economic necessity, forces pulling them in, a regional catastrophe teetering on the edge of becoming a global one. The consequences then are, truly unthinkable for everyone.
It's such a bitter reality to even contemplate that the cost isn't just military or economic, is it? It's the trust, the hatred.
Completely gone. Any shred of trust vaporized. Generations of entrenched hatred. Future peace becomes almost unimaginable, and the human lives, not just those killed, but those displaced, traumatized, impoverished for decades. Whole societies push back. Look, exploring this, as grim as it is, isn't about scaring people. It's about understanding. Understand the sheer catastrophic weight of these consequences so that maybe, just maybe, every possible diplomatic avenue, every last effort is truly exhausted to stop it ever getting to this point. The sources paint a stark picture, but we need to look at it.
Knowledge is a defense. That stark picture really does underscore the massive responsibility, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For proactive diplomacy, for constantly working toward peaceful solutions. Because the alternative, the miscalculation, the risks are just too immense for everyone. Makes you realize how fragile peace actually is.
Exactly. May understanding this potential horror strengthen our collective will, our resolve to find those pathways away from it, however hard they are. Peace isn't just the default state. It's something precious, fragile, and needs constant work, constant vigilance, and frankly, profound empathy from all of us.